Hey everybody, it's GobletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one, pick one, a pretty solid pack here. Got a pretty powerful three-color rare. It's obviously very narrow. You have to be in exactly that three-color pair. You have to be able to splash into a three-color rare at worst, I guess. But the rest of the pack isn't that exciting. There's decent commons like Corrupt Court Official, Glider Kids, and First Time Flyer, solid role fillers. It has early creatures or like Waterbending Lesson for solid card drawn blue, but nothing that really pulls me off of just speculating on a big, powerful, multicolored card right off the bat with Tough. Pick number 2 now, White Lotus Reinforcements, really strong card for the green-white archetype. There's tons and tons of allies in this draft format. So this can buff a whole bunch of stuff up while being a 3-mana 2/3 Vigilance. Not a terrible stat line itself. Don't mind speculating on the White Lotus Reinforcements. It also overlaps with the same colors as our pack one, pick one rare. Pick 3. This is the first pick that's actually a little difficult for me, a little bit close for my personal pick order. And that's between Firebending Lesson, very, very efficient removal spell, also super splashable, because at 5 mana you just need a single red and then 4 of anything else for the kicked version, or the Jasmine Dragon Tea Shop, which both of our first 2 cards are allies. One of them specifically cares about running a bunch of allies, so this should be like decent fixing for any of our creature spells, since we'll be running basically exclusively allies, plus a good mana sink, a good place to dump your mana late. So I do think the Tea Shop's real good too, but I'm going to take that Firebending Lesson really early here, really highly, because I think that card is just exceptional removal. That's also tremendously flexible. Doesn't matter what you're doing at all, as long as you are touching red as a color, you're going to be really happy with Firebending Lesson. Pick number 4, we have solid filler allies out of white. These are the safest picks. They make the most sense with the White Lotus Reinforcements and the Toph as our first couple picks. So it's likely supposed to be one of the two. They are weaker than all the blue spells here, so we could speculate towards blue, but I don't think they're astronomically weaker, so I'll still just grab solid filler white ally with Glider Kids there. Pick 5, we see a second copy of Firebending Lesson. I'm more than happy to take. I could see us trying to be green-white allies, splashing a Toph and a couple Firebending Lessons. But it is still quite early in the draft, so we're not even tied to that necessarily. There could be some outcome here based on how open blue looked in the last pack, and then again seeing another nice late Watery Grasp. We could somehow end up in like blue-red Lessons and just dropping the white entirely here, where these will also play really well. And then as I said before, literally any red deck. Wow, okay. I mean, we're definitely playing red then. Triple Firebending Lesson just right off the bat. This is a really nice pick 6 pack. Firebending Lesson is great. Messenger Hawk is great and very flexible thanks to the hybrid mana cost. Guru Pathik as well is a very solid build around if you have enough Lessons, Sagas, or Shrines in your deck to where this consistently draws you a card when you play it, then it's a great deal. Really nice pack so far. And here for pick number 7, I do think the strongest card in this pack is a blue spell. Not only a blue spell, but a blue lesson. And again, as we were talking about in that earlier pack where I did end up taking Glider Kids, there were multiple really solid blue spells. So I'm going to keep blue-red lessons in my mind as a potential backup deck here, because there's really nothing for our like green-white-red allies build out of this pack. Everything that we took towards an aggressive ally deck was within the first 4 picks. Right, Glider Kids was the latest. That was a pick 4 Glider Kids, and of all things, Glider Kids is not much of a signal towards anything specific. So I'm not going to put too much weight towards this green-white allies direction, because everything we took for it was like a pick 1 and a pick 2. Doesn't mean that archetype's open. Meanwhile, we see a pick 8 Foggy Swamp Spirit Keeper, one of the best signpost uncommons in the set, a really strong card for the blue-black draw 2 strategy, and we have some kind of off-ramp here into potentially like blue-black-red, some Grixis control-y build, because that showing up that late is like a genuine sign towards blue-black. These red cards are pretty mediocre. The creature is pretty decent, the Tylee. But I like Waterbending Lesson quite a lot in more controlling decks, refueling your hand. Now, Treetop Freedom Fighters over a bunch of quite filler stuff. Cycle of Renewal could be interesting here if we try to go completely off the deep end and shove all these cards into the same deck. I have not felt that that plays super well in the set. Okay, Fire Nation Cadets in a triple Firebending Lesson deck could really get some Firebending going early. That's 3 1-mana lessons alongside it. I'm going to take this Cadets here. Red is feeling like a spot to be, that's for sure. Okay, pack 2, pick 1. We see a really strong black rare. I don't remember seeing a ton of black, but with how open red was, with all these Firebending Lessons jumping around the draft pod, could be worth the speculation. Blue and red felt the most open, so we could try to just lock in on kind of a aggressive blue-red's Lessons deck, in which case the pick is likely Grand. I think we're just taking such a hit in card quality, taking Grand over just a mythic, like 6/6 plus removal spell kind of creature, that I will speculate here on that because that is insane. Okay, no good black card in the pack. Get past a great ally rare, but again, later in the pack, we didn't see a lot of good ally stuff. So I am completely fine not ending up in that ally deck. Sorry, Earth King's Lieutenants. Here, the Cave of Two Lovers looks very reasonable, because red is just a really good color out of what we've drafted so far. This is quite a solid red card. 2 1/1s, grab a mountain, and Earthbend a 3/3 as well. So a 3/3 and 2 1/1s for 4 mana. It takes a little time to set it up, but is worth that time. That's a good stat line. Take that over River Spirit. Should be okay in our blue-red, but we don't actually have a lot of permanents for that deck yet, so it's actually a pretty expensive creature. Pick number 3. We see Swamp Snare Trap to get deeper in black for Ko. If we cast Fire Lord Azula and she declares an attack, then we can try to like double Firebending Lesson. We have 3 of those. We've got solid spells trying to do the Azula thing, and this may be kind of the color trio we end up in. I don't really think there's like a great card that she's competing with here. If Swamp Snare Trap were like a sold out or something instead, I'd probably just take it. Because she doesn't seem like the most consistent way to try to do anything balmy or crazy, but she does seem pretty fun. There's nothing super high quality competing with her there. See if we can't play some Firelord Azula nonsense here. Pick number 4, Corrupt Court Official. So we try to be like red-black splash the blue, running double black cards, early black plays, stuff like that. I think that looks like a reasonable spot to land in this draft pod. Grab Corrupt Court Official. There's a sold out here now, pick 5. That's excellent removal. Deadly Precision's quite good as well. But being able to exile instead of destroy is always nice. Ozai's Cruelty and Abandoned Attachments are both good with Fire Nation Cadets too, because we want those lessons in the grave so early. But I'm going to take the great removal over them. Pick 6. It's crazy to take Borcupine. I think Borcupine is weaker than Wolfbat, but our deck isn't good at triggering Wolfbat, and we're just a lot deeper into red. Just gonna take a Borcupine. Pick 7, Mongoose Lizard, or Bender's Waterskin. I will not be excited about either. Actually grab the Waterskin here. Pick number 8. Vindictive Warden should be really easy to cast. Barrels gives us more fixing, which we have very little of right now. Take a barrels. We gotta get some better creatures in here. It's the biggest thing we're missing now. Callus Inspector's a pretty good creature. Uncle Iroh is not great with that only 2 toughness. But we got a few lessons for him. And we are deeper into red. But still will take Callus Inspector. Oh, it's also a clue token for our Foggy Swamp Spirit Keeper. Take some super mid creatures and see what pack number 3 gives us. Ooh, got the Ozai's Cruelty. I'll run it. Okay, pack 3, pick 1 is a white rare. That's always like the most awkward. When you don't get past cards in a color, but you open cards in that color. The red and the black in this pack is awful. My god. Price of Freedom, Rough Rhino Cavalry, Cunning Maneuver, and Foggy Swamp Hunters. Suppose we're just on the warship or splashed in boomerang basics. It's a pretty cheap lesson. Take the boomerang basics. Okay, we got a black-red duel. Got a Kyoshi Battle Fan, a Callus Inspector. Not really a Zhao deck. We're on 21 non-land cards right now. I think I can spend a pick on the black-red duel. Grand's a good card, but we can't really splash in like a 1-drop. Yeah, I think we're pretty committed to blue being the splash, black being the secondary color. Another Grand though. Vindictive Warden, Fire Nation Raider. Plenty of mid filler in this pack. I'll take Vindictive Warden. Okay. This Judy looks really bad. So it's 4 mana for a clone that can only clone your stuff. Take a Jasmine Dragon Tea Shop now. That's actually pretty bad in this deck. Because we're splashing into a 3rd color and this is not going to give us colored mana for almost any of our spells. So it's a colorless land a lot of the time, which is a big downside. Rather just grab a Rumble Arena, honestly. Swamp Snare Trap is fine. Boomy Bash is also fine. Take the Swamp Snare Trap. Grab a Corrupt Court Official. Actually, Messenger Hawk's pretty great too. Corrupt Court Official is better for the mana curve. And then like double Corrupt Court Official plus Ozai's Cruelty. Those in the same hand can be really, really rude. Super disruptive on our opponent's hand. Yeah, I'm going to get another 2-drop. Corrupt Court Official. And then there's a Boomy Bash. Play a Watery Grasp off the splash. No, I think I just need more creatures at this rate. However mid they're gonna be. Be a double Porcupine deck. Now let's get a Merchant. Fire Nation Warship over the Swamp Hunters on this one. Run that over water skin. Hopefully the mana is good enough to do that. We have barrels and rumble arena and rock prison for fixing. Rough rhino cavalry over. Something else. Suppose the cunning maneuver would give us another clue to sack to Zhao triggers, but I just think Zhao's not making the cut. This feels like the middest Avatar deck. And I think the only thing that I know for sure based on how the draft pot went was like I like how blue looked basically the whole time. So maybe we were just supposed to be really heavy blue. I'm not sure what the other colors were supposed to be. The red, though, we may have been just led astray a bit by all these early firebending lessons. Just a bunch of other drafters disrespecting that card. Because we didn't get, like, much red from there. Even ending the first pack with triple firebending lesson. The third one was like a pick 6 or something. So it felt like a reasonable color. But yeah, I guess I jumped too heavy into red. I did accurately read the blue signal. Blue for sure would have been a great color to get really deep into. I guess it was just kind of my initial thought probably. Hop deep into specifically blue-red lessons. Don't get distracted by the Ko. Take the haiku, take the multiple grands and stuff. Maybe blue-red is the best outcome for this draft. I don't know, this was a hard draft to navigate for sure. I certainly don't think you're supposed to keep to the green-white ally stuff with the signals that we were getting out of the pod. However, I think if we had just clung to them for dear life, we still would have had a pretty decent deck because we then opened up like an incredible white rare with the abandoned air temple. Yeah, this was a really nebulous draft. I think this is the first draft I've had in quite a while where would 100% say stuff that has gone wrong has been the draft itself. I am not 100% sure where we were supposed to be here, but it does not feel like this kind of Grixis deck panned out too well. And there certainly would have been something a bit stronger. But I don't know. We haven't done the gameplay yet. We'll have to see how it actually plays out when we get to that. But I don't think... It's certainly not a 7 winner or anything. Does not look great. So the creature count's 12. I don't think I really want to cut any of those then. The lower the creature count is, the harder it is to crew your vehicles consistently, so we could drop that, but also get lower on the splash here when we don't have a lot of fixing, like drop these blue spells, play just the Spirit Keeper and the Azula. Although even the Spirit Keeper, how many ways do I realistically have to trigger that? I have one clue token from Callous Inspector, and one from Warship and one from Rock Prison. This is a pretty bad Swamp Spirit Keeper deck as well then. We could literally just splash Azula then. Play some more filler. You know, like a Freedom Fighters in here. And then Azula is just trying to win off of copying a Firebending lesson, which could work. We've got Sold Out, Booming Bash, Swamp Snare Trap, Triple Firebending Lesson, and Barrels. Very decent removal. The worst would be Bash or the Trap, so we can cut one of those if I need to cut anything else. But I still have room for one more spell without cutting anything. This is the deck I run a Hog Monkey in? Really? Jet's brainwashing also feels super mid. It's this cunning maneuver. I really think I just want to put a creature in. Just put a Zao in just because 4-drop pawn curve. Yeah, I'm really not pumped about Hog Monkey or Pirate Peddlers. Those are the only other options as creatures. Not that I'm pumped about Zao either, but this looks fine. Let's be real. This does not look fine to me. This looks super mid. But yeah, I mean, triple Firebending Lesson, Swamp Snare Trap, Boomy Bash. I should not write this deck off immediately. It has a lot of interaction to stop whatever our opponent's doing, and then say it has a Ko in the hand. There's our bomb finisher. We can win games that way. It just feels like if we don't have something like Ko at the top end, like the games where we just try to interact with their stuff and then get ahead, like how are we getting ahead? Our creatures are so mediocre in terms of like stat lines and synergies. Yeah, our creature base is bad in this deck. That is where we could really have used some adjustments and improvements here. Yeah, this will be interesting. We will call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how far this one can take us. Here we are on the draw for game 1. Probably would mulligan this on the play, but on the draw, should we hit any land, we have Merchant, Cruelty, and Fire Nation Warship. We did hit exactly the red source, which is pretty perfect. Run out the Merchant of Many Hats, threatening to trade into Compassionate Healer on blocks, and then our creature can come back from grave later, but theirs cannot. There's the wall top sentries. And Merchant does hold off the attack for now. Play the 3rd mana, drop a Warship. Now I'm threatening the 4/4 blocker. That gives me a clue token when it trades off as well. Hakoda, fantastic rare. Certainly looking for the land to sold out on that before they draw any cards off of it. Fingers crossed, top deck land. That is not the land, which means we are going to have to kill Hakoda a turn later at best. Let's go ahead and Ozai's Cruelty 2 of their final 3 cards out of their hand. Should be some rough decisions for them. But if they hit any allies off the top, Hakoda could immediately get them out of any kind of card disadvantage that we put them in here. Say they have 2 2-mana allies on top in a row, Hakoda's immediately a 3-for-1. They have a 3/5 plus cast 2 extra cards they just drew. So, fingers crossed they miss here and they just see a land clump. Where like there's an ally on top now, they draw it and now it's a land, so they can't do anything with Hakoda. Earth Kingdom Jailer, which exiles the Warship to get these sentries in. Yep, that's pretty good. Can still hold the Merchant up to keep Compassionate Healer off of us. We take 5. Okay, let's see if we can hit that sold out mana this turn. We cannot. So Freedom Fighters is the highest power we can have up on blocks, so we play it and pass. This gives them another turn to try to find their Hakoda value. Sending the Squad Scry to the bottom, looking for allies for Hakoda, likely. Take my 5 here. Go to 10. I don't want to block there and double block sentries, because then sacking Hakoda might be worth it for opponents, which we do not want to see. So here's our sold out mana, which I think we need to just throw out here and make sure Hakoda does not draw them any cards. We got really lucky with them missing any allies off the top for Hakoda for a little bit. But if they don't hit any solid creatures, Azula blocks here. We could still be in this. I don't get to double blow up with Azula right now. I don't double blow up with Azula because if I try to double blow up, then they sack Hakoda and give the other one indestructible anyway. So I think I'm supposed to barrel Hakoda. Off of fire breathing mana. That way I still have Firebending lesson to try to kill 2 of their creatures next turn, maybe? Okay, not yet. We get Airbending lesson. I mean, if the Azula sticks around ever, it's going to be huge. That auto tap was terrible. We should have tapped anything but red mana so we could play Disciple and hold up Firebending lesson. See if we get punished for not having it up here. We do! If we had it up, then we could Firebending lesson, Freedom Fighter in response, and then they wouldn't kill anything off the ETB. Probably doesn't matter too much, though, because the Disciple was not mega relevant to our position right now. Okay, let's make sure not to auto-tap this time. Let's go full control mode. There, now I can play Cadets and hold up a Firebending lesson. It's a boomy, very solid one. They're gonna Earthbend with it. Go to 4. Can't crew warship here. And then we Firebending lesson both of those off of the attack. Holding up Cadets to have a blocker up if something crazy happens. And I even have the mana to buff and then crew warship if I need to. Foggy Swamp Vinebender. Glider Kids. We'll co the Glider Kids. Make sure we have creatures with power more than 2 on blocks. Swamp Snare Trap, not an instant. So Swamp Snare Trap will not be doubled. Offer the trade here. Oh, I should have attacked with cadets too. 2 Firebending 2s would mean that cadets could have attacked as a 3-2. Can't be blocked by more than one creature. Okay, that's still not enough. And then Swamp Snare Trap. I guess Swamp Snare Trap isn't enough to kill them now that they have a counter on it. Okay. GG from opponent. Just blocked there. GG. That was insane. I think that their deck is better than ours. I think their deck's better than ours. But they drew quite poorly. I mean, drawing 2 Hakoda, just drafting 2 Hakoda is gnarly. But here's where we got really lucky and why we won the game. Off of 2 separate Hakodas that I couldn't kill for a little while, they had several turns to potentially hit an ally. Off of both of them, not a single time did they get to cast an ally off the top. Cannot stress enough how lucky the order of cards in their deck was for us, that they just didn't hit allies for the Hakodas until after we dealt with them. Because, like, look at the deck. That's ally, ally. Every single creature they played, except for Flopsy, was an ally. So we got really, really lucky with the order of draws there. And then them not having the removal for the Azula as well let us actually leverage that ability to really pull us into that game. Super lucky stuff. We actually start things off 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are for game number 2. Start with Callous Inspector here. It's Callous Inspector and a bunch of 4-mana cards with only 2 lands in the hand, so there's definite risk to it. But it doesn't really matter what lands we draw, we'll be happy. We started with a swamp and a mountain, so the vast majority of the hand would be castable no matter what our draws were, and since one of our first draws was Barrels of Blasting Jelly, now everything will be castable. Oh, Lord have mercy. Our next draw is another 4-mana card. Have we drawn every 4-mana card in the deck yet? Yep, this is every single 4-mana card in her deck. We haven't hit the 5 and the 6. We have not hit the 5 and the 6. Alright, there's land 3. We draw it off curve, which is awkward. If we hit our lands on curve, then we would be in a really good spot. This would be the turn we just drop out Cave of Two Lovers, get more mana towards the rest of these, and also play the more expendable card before we run out the Azula. It's probably Cave into Zhao and then Azula. There's Guru from our opponent, their blue-red Lessons deck. That should almost definitely draw them a card. I don't know what it is about Guru. Oh, well, I did say we hadn't drawn our 5 and our 6 yet. There's our 6. Anyways, I don't know what it is about the Guru, but I have run against so many opponents with decks that should be able to consistently hit. I feel like I've almost never seen Guru actually draw a card somehow. But they're blue-red with first-time flyer. They should be on at least like 6 lessons or something. This looks at the top 5. Foggy Swamp Spirit Keeper. Thank you for letting me try to get mana. Chump with Inspector and draw the card. Extremely desperate right now. We do hit land 4. And then we hit the only 5-drop in the deck. So this game, we have hit every 4, 5, and 6 mana card in the whole deck in the top 13. That's pretty sick. When you put it that way, we should definitely play the Cave of Two Lovers to get more mana, correct? I'm under a good amount of pressure. I'm taking 5 damage minimum. If they draw any extra cards, the Swamp Spirit Keeper's spitting out more power as well. I could certainly see the argument to just blow up the Swamp Spirit Keeper instead with a Boomy Bash. I certainly can't play Azula. They just blow up Azula with the barrels, so trying to set up Azula into Sold Out isn't necessarily going to help. The 2 1/1s we get out of this aren't even blocking yet. I'm gonna Boomy Bash the Swamp Spirit Keeper first. There's a Water Skin. We take 3. And that's the turn. Big chilling. Now the cave. Take another 3. Airbending lesson, get a counter, and +1/+1 to the first time flyer, and kill a token and draw a card. And then Toph, fantastic rare, picks up the Airbending lesson to kill another token, put another counter on the board, draw another card. Oh, and another rare, Earth King's Lieutenant, to put a counter on the whole board. And Earthbend with Toph's ability. I guess it doesn't put a counter on the Earthbended land, but everything else is an ally. Okay. You got me. That's just kind of magic for you. We had literally as statistically bad draws as possible. Every single 4, 5, and 6 mana spell in the entire deck without hitting land number 4 on curve. Alright, here we are for game number 3. Solid opener here. Perfect colors of mana. We have Firebending Lesson and Corrupt Court Official and Fire Nation Warship all pretty early. Although we aren't exactly crewing this warship with just the 1/1 Court Official. Playing against Boros. Make them discard a Yuyan Archers, which is fair enough because that's a pretty bad stat line against a 1/1 body like Corrupt Court Officials. Okay, no creatures for this warship, so I don't mind Firebending the healer away to keep it off of us. Nothing else we do is going to actually stop it right now. There's Water Tribe Captain. You can scry something with the Rumble Arena, another land, scry that to the bottom, drop the warship, get ready to run out cavalry or crack-a-barrels. Aang the Last Airbender. Airbend a warship. Fair enough. Go to 17. We hit another land. We'll drop the cavalry. Pass. Wouldn't be a terrible turn to just barrels the Aang. It's another reasonable play. If cavalry doesn't die, though, the Firebending gives us the discount on the barrels next turn. We can be slightly more mana efficient if we draw any spells to cast. We are not drawing spells. Another land for us. The only blocker I'd have up is a single 1/1 if I send the cavalry in, so probably really is just barrels the Aang and have a 5/5 up against the Water Tribe Captain. Awkward draws for sure again. Kind of the opposite of last game. Sending an Aang, sending a Momo. Just gonna activate Water Tribe Captain for the turn, sure. Blow up the Aang, take 2. And the warship may not have been big enough to block Aang through the +1/+1s from Captain, but It is big enough to block the Momo if we want to run it out here, but now we drew our co-mythic rare. And that feels like the play. Iroh Tea-Master. So they can give us the food to get a 1/1 and put a counter on it. And then they can start giving us lands and getting more creatures. So they're going to go wide around our big creatures to kill us. Actually, Team Avatar here is brutal. With the Iroh to spit out a token every single turn, that Momo is going to kill us really fast. Yeah, maybe I was supposed to exile Momo to play around exactly Team Avatar. It's the only card I could think of that I would want to kill Momo for, but Team Avatar is a big part of the set. 8 mana for the exhaust on that thing. I don't think I'm exhausting here, but I'm threatening to. They're blocking with the Momo. I'm going to have the Warship. That's true. I have the Warship here. They can't lock in Flying Lethal or anything. One at the top, one at the bottom, so they've scryed something good. I was feeling pretty confident once they choose to lose the Momo, but then when they chose to scry to the top, now I'm nervous again. I think we can outrace this Iroh, because they can only attack with one creature a turn. I can just chump. I think I need to save Warship in case they hit a flyer. Yeah, I've got like the giant trample swing with Rough Rhino Cavalry as well. What happens if they go wide? Well, they can't. They have to double trump, basically. They have to... Yeah, because I have trample on one of these, they have to lose a couple creatures here. They're not going to have lethal crackback going wide. Okay. Ko gets to exile the cavalry and then get trample itself soon enough. I'm Earthbending a 3/3 Vigilant Rumble Arena next turn as well. This may be unnecessarily risky, but I don't think they probably have interaction for this. We can stop all the Iroh shenanigans potentially. But now I don't have the flying blocker in the future. Activated and triggered abilities, so I could just give this Iroh's abilities. Start making my own army. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do here, though. I think I just give trample. Exactly enough for sold out. The Firebending lesson to save it. 4 mana is not going to be enough to save it with any of these abilities. Yeah, you got it. Multiple creatures off one spell is a good draw. But Rumble Arena still wins the board. I think I want to sold out here. So I guess I just get the Scry. Oh, find our own. Let's go. Not trading my 2/1 into their 1/1, so just post-combat Freedom Fighters. Kind of a two-turn kill, however we play it. Yep, there's this 5 power on the board, the sold out for their next blocker. If I attacked all, they trade into Freedom Fighters, we hit for 3. They go to 4, and then I have 3 1/1s, and then the 4th 1/1 for 4 damage on the board. Crazy game. The team avatar plus flyer is always really, really threatening, so thought we were going to die to that, but they actually blocked with that pretty early, so we didn't have to worry about it. Although, again, we did have the Fire Nation warship coming up, so they may have just thought, like, the warship's going to be big enough to block anyway, but I think there might have been some way that Momo, especially with the Kyoshi Warriors, is one of their next draws, could have maybe gotten the kill, so I'm really, really happy we managed to get them to block that early. And then, yeah, just our great Mythic Rare in the end game, doing great Mythic Rare things. That is 2-1 heading into game number 4. Game 4. Bunch of 4s and 5s. Even the barrels is basically a 5-drop. So can I keep an opening hand of 2 4-mana plays and a 5-mana play? Probably shouldn't. Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan. This is much better. Tiger Seal, turn 1. We'll see how often they're untapping that. Power of the card completely depends on how often they draw 2 and keep it untapped. Corrupt Court Official, when I mulliganed. The actual worst feeling in the universe. This board is not very good for Firebending Lesson, but it really could be soon. I really can't discard the Swamp. I could maybe ditch Island. I feel like I'm supposed to just hit Disciple and play it slow. Okay, if I had Rough Rhino Cavalry in hand, I would have slam dunk, windmill slammed that straight into the trash can. There's your Corrupt Court Official card. June Bounty Hunter. We found a fine Firebending Lesson target. Just gonna sack Court Official immediately for a clue. Good value. And that clue will untap Tiger Seal soon enough. Oops. There we go. Warship into the cave that can crew the warship. Foggy Swamp Spirit Keeper to go with the clue. That is mega bad. One of the strongest signpost uncommons in the set. Just make an army of completely unblockable spirits, and this is -3, not -4, so I cannot kill the Foggy Swamp Spirit Keeper. Could kill the Tiger Seal, but we kind of don't care about it anymore now that we just have a 4/4. The 3/3 Vigilance really doesn't do anything. It's the Swamp Spirit Keeper that matters, and that card still matters, even if it's a 0/1. Just run out the cavalry here. Might have been a decent turn to push damage through with the warship, since I'm playing a 5/5 blocker anyway. But they had like open mana to potentially counter the cavalry, and then like any removal spell they hit as well. Would blow it up, and then I wouldn't have the blocker here. Exile removal for the warship. Yep, you got it. It's pretty perfect. Okay, there's our removal for the Swamp Spirit Keeper. Shut off their life gain and their multiple creatures. Should just Court Official first, though, with one card in their hand. Unless they top deck something that draws them a card, the Swamp Spirit Keeper's not doing anything next turn. Threatening the double block on the Spirit Keeper this way. Keep its lifelink off of us. What is the top deck? Of course, an immediate trigger for this Foggy Swamp Spirit Keeper. I mean, I think we made the right play there. They just lucked into the extra Spirit Keeper trigger. Good draws are gonna be good. Now we definitely sold out the Spirit Keeper. Pass. Take 3, go to 9. They could have the discard a card, draw 2, untap their Tiger Seal out of nowhere. It's a kind of fancy play. We're on Swamp Snare, the Messenger Hawk, and play Vindictive Warden. I think we're good to send all, even if they do have the perfect spell there. They do not. Kill the Hawk over the Tiger Seal because killing the Hawk gives me the cost reduction. And the Tiger Seal is 3 damage any turn they've drawn a second card. The Hawk is also 3 damage any turn they've drawn a second card, except that the Hawk also hits us when they haven't drawn a second card. Here they have the Octopus form for the Seal and the removal for the Warden. You got it. There's Ko. Is this a Spirit? It is a Spirit. I can block the 1/1s with that. I think I'm still supposed to kill one of the tokens here. So that if they do kill this, I still have blockers for other stuff. Nom nom nom. Nope, they have the sold out. Well, they gave me an extra life. We take those. We find a land. Dead to removal plus draw another card. It has to be a combination of 2 spells to kill us here. But I do want to hold up 1 blocker so that it does have to be the double spell to kill us. Treetop Freedom Fighters. It's the draw. Once again, make it have to be a draw spell and removal by holding just a single blocker up. If they take the trade, then that would no longer kill us. So if they draw land here, we win. If they draw a spell here, we probably die. Maybe they already drew the spell. 1 card in hand. Wow. Alright. We got outdrawn on that one. I think the game ended close enough that it was literally the fact that they drew the Messenger Hawk like right after we went for the Corrupt Court Official on their hand. They were playing 100% off the top. They had to draw exactly something that drew them another card to get enough damage here to outrace us in the end. They needed to get that 1 extra trigger on the Foggy Swamp Spirit Keeper before we sold out. That happens, that's just Magic for you. I think 100% that was the right line. With just 1 card in their hand that we knew was a spell, 100% worth playing Corrupt Court Official there and having them be completely empty-handed. The only way that we get punished for that is if they draw exactly a draw spell off the top. They draw any removal or anything, and that's the right play. They draw any land, and that's the right play. They draw most creatures, and that's the right play. The only thing that punishes is the draw 2, and they hit the draw 2, and it mattered a lot, because that gave them the second spirit to get all that extra damage throughout the game. Yep. Really good showing from the deck there, I think, overall. We just played the 1 Ko. Everything else was a lot of our filler commons and uncommons, and we still would have outraced them. We had just a single extra turn there. If they don't hit that, or if they didn't top deck the Messenger Hawk exactly on time. So a loss in the end, but I think the deck as a whole, in terms of how it's playing out in these games, is still overperforming my expectations. 2-2, heading into game 5. Here we are on the draw for game number 5. I'm going to keep this hand. I'm not super pumped about it. A reasonable creature, a reasonable vehicle, and a reasonable removal spell. It's perfectly fine. A little bit slow. All 3 and 4 mana. Playing against Boros, we find barrels of jelly. There's Earth Kingdom Jailer just as a 3 mana 3/3 here. Three power and toughness worth of stats I could double block the Jailer with. And then because I'm going to be just blocking instead of attacking, we can play the Warship next turn and still crew it and have it on blocks. Glider Kids is the play for the flyer. Trade 3 drops. That's honestly just not terrible. I have the Merchant to crew the Warship, and I can do that even if the Merchant dies, I can keep bringing it back. Can Boomy Bash this Glider Kids and still have the Barrels of Blasting Jelly for their next threat. Firebending Lesson is the draw. Wow, yeah, we have a lot of removal then. If we have Barrels and Firebending Lesson left over, that means let's go for mana efficiency over preserving removal and just Boomy Bash now. Then I can go Merchant plus Warship next turn. Still have 2 removal spells left over. Kyoshi Warriors, a-okay. And here we go. Hold that off with Warship, pass. Aang the Last Airbender. Aang the premium uncommon. And gets them 3 damage in here. Luckily, I don't really have anything else to do right now, so the airbend doesn't hurt us that much. Cave of Two Lovers is a solid draw. Pretending Pox Bearers. Pass. Cave of Two Lovers, pass. Haru Hidden Talent. Every time they play any other ally, they also Earthbend 1. I'm gonna save this removal. I'm not sure exactly where it's going yet. Ooh, we're 1 mountain away from hitting every single one in the deck. Get them all out of the way. Might have to just Firebending Lesson the Haru when they go to cast another ally. Because Haru and the Aang are the most important creatures right now. The Boulder Earthbending every time it attacks is also not great, but it only Earthbends 1 each time it attacks. Like blow it up when it goes to combat. I think I'm going to use the barrels. Because I have Rumble Arena for whatever color I need. And Firebending Lesson I could cast for 1 on Aang if I need to, and if I hold on to Firebending Lesson, it's going to make Azula a better draw. That is a fantastic ally rare. 4/4 haste. All of the other allies come with +1/+1 counters and get haste. They pass through. A little bit of flood. We pass back. Earth Kingdom General with a +1/+1 counter and haste. A 2/2 Earthbended land that then the boulder can put 2 more counters on. So they could attack with 3 4/4s this turn. Yeah, they're kind of breaking through here. Might have to bite the bullet and just firebending less in the boulder. Attack with a 4/4 planes, a 4/4 boulder, a 4/4 wartime protesters, a 3/3 earth. It's really not good. Lord have mercy, Water Tribe Rallier as well. So now they have a card draw engine too. Well, I'll play my 11th land and a Corrupt Court Official. They can activate their thing in response. So that they discard whatever small creature they have in their top 4. Kyoshi Warriors, so they can discard that or their last card in hand that we don't know about. They're going to discard the Kyoshi Warriors. So whatever's left in their hand is better than a 3/3 and a 1/1. And we're already monumentally behind on board. It's buff the entire board and get a 1/1 when anybody dies. Fair enough. Turn their 4/3 into a 1/1. But they still get to just rally into every creature in their deck. We're playing entirely off the top. No card draw engine. Porcupine. I think that's the first time we've drawn Porcupine all day. Sadly, the Porcupine has arrived after casting all of our spells. We're 2-2 right now, so if we lose this game, the event's completely over. If that weren't the case, I probably would have conceded by now because there is absolute 0 chance of victory here. Not even like 0.001, literal 0. But we might as well run it out. It's the last Magic we're going to play today. Now they have 2 different ways to buff the entire board. Water Tribe Captain and Water Musicians. Raucous Audience. 2-mana green creature. So red must be the splash then. Wartime Protester is the only red card we've seen. Yeah. So red's the splash. Suki only triggers once per turn, even if I kill a bunch of creatures, which is kind of nice. So we kill a bunch of creatures this turn. I probably should have kept the 1/1 untapped for Pox Bearers. That'd be a better block. I was thinking a 6 toughness. Shooter blocks kind of suck anywhere. Since that has 6, I don't actually have enough to throw its way. I mean, we're dead in like 2 all attacks. We had one of the 2 black board wipes. That would be like the only out in the universe. But we don't have any of those. I guess there's technically 3 black board wipes, but the uncommon one's really bad and would kill nowhere near enough creatures here. Just -2, -2. Alright, we hit some big dorks. Not enough to flip the board, but probably enough that it'll take them a little longer to kill us. I might concede eventually. This is taking longer than I thought it would to die. They're not even like particularly low on cards in their deck. They still have 17 left, so it's not like we mill them out. Water Tribe Captain. So they have Captain plus Musicians. There we go. All right. We're probably dead to this. Thank goodness. I guess we just stop the maximum amount of damage. This is the maximum damage we can stop, and we have some reasonable kills. But I think we're dead. Cool. That is 2 and 3, which is about what I would expect out of this deck, as we said during the drafting, or during the deck building at the end of the draft. I think this is the first draft I've had in a long time where I do feel like there was a lot to be gained within the draft itself. I am really unsure about where we ended up and where we should have ended up in this draft pod. There was a lot of good blue going around. I think we probably should have hopped onto that blue earlier. That's the only thing that I'm pretty confident about. We got a lot of firebending lessons early, one of which was like a pick 6 or 7, and that kind of glued us to red probably more than we should have, because outside of the firebending lessons, the only great red we got, well, we got it at like 11th pick Fire Nation Cadets. That was also certainly somewhat of a sign. But then after that, it was like 1 Cave of Two Lovers, and that's it for the rest of the entire draft, which is insane. Yeah, basically the entirety of the red showed up in pack 1, except Cave of Two Lovers, which was like pack 2 pick 1 or pack 3 pick 1 or something. So it doesn't feel like red ended up being where it was at, but I got a pretty hard read on the blue early and just didn't fully move in on it like I think I should have. So again, I think it's some kind of blue deck. Blue-red would have ended up with a fine deck. We would have had multiple Grand and stuff towards blue-red lessons, but I'm still not sure that ends up being the strongest deck. It's hard not to take Ko and just roll with that. So maybe we end up in blue-black then instead. I could see that being better. is if we end up in like blue-black here, we have Waterbending lesson, draw 3, we have a bounce, we have a counter. Some of the blue that we were passing involved, we could have had some Messenger Hawks, which also ends up in black as well. So I have some Messenger Hawks and some Watery Grasp and stuff for more cheap removal. Yeah, I mean, if I look at this pile, and then I think I'm missing 4 cards here, so I would only need 4 decent blue cards. If we take this pile, we put in 2 Messenger Hawk, 1 of the Forecasting Fortune Teller, the 2 mana 1/3 that makes a clue, and then 1 Watery Grasp. I feel like this looks like a pretty solid blue-black deck, probably better than the black-red one that we ended up with. We can still play all the Firebending lessons, so we can still play our 3 best red cards and even splash the Fire Lord Azula and play around with that. So I think I was too married to the red was likely what happened here, and we needed to get deeper on the blue because the blue not only had a bunch of good blue getting passed early, the blue never stopped showing up. There was decent blue showing up in pretty much every pack. So we should have gone deeper on that color, and we could have done that and still moved on to the incredible powerful Mythic. Our black wasn't great here, but sold out, Swamp Snare Trap, like it's good enough to be certainly a secondary color to the blue, going for like a blue-black deck here, especially if we splash in the red as well, because that fills out some more of those non-creature spell slots, some more of those non-land card slots, to not need as deep of a selection within our blue and within our black, because we got some red playables in here off the splash too. So yeah, I think this draft is the first draft in a long time that more than anything the impact on the win rate was in draft decisions. I don't think I found the right lane here. I think I had a reasonable take. Like, I wasn't gluing myself to red for no reason. We had a pick 6 Firebending lesson was the third one that we took, something around there, and like a pick 11 cadets. But probably just need to always be thinking and looking through the pack and reestablishing what is and isn't open in your mind. Because red completely dried up from there, it looks like. Whereas blue never quite did. We could have had more solid blue filler. Ended it up with a better deck with probably a better win rate. So I think that is the gist of what happened today. I'm sure I made some misplays and stuff as well, but the wins and the losses felt pretty commanding today, particularly the losses. Like that very last game of Magic. I don't know if anybody, even the greatest player in the world, comes anywhere close to winning that game. That was tremendously lopsided. So not so sure about gameplay stuff that could have changed the outcome, but certainly the draft here. So 2 and 3 it'll be for today's draft. But once again, as I said last time, that means that we get to hop back into Final Fantasy for the next draft. Although we have mixer drafts as well, so we'll play at least one of those. But outside of that, alternating between Avatar and Final Fantasy, and it's quite funny because kind of just similar to my experience in the formats, it's like 2-3 in Avatar, 7 win a Final Fantasy, 2-3 in Avatar, 7 win a Final Fantasy. So I guess I'll see you all very soon for another 7-win Final Fantasy Premier Draft, because I know how to draft that set. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.